I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, good. First of all, can you get your voice up a little higher? Your volume,
I
Todd?
think I'll just speak a little higher. I can't actually turn the volume up, but
Okay,
yeah,
that's
let
better.
me
Okay,
talk a little louder.
my
Yeah,
hearing
thank
doesn't
you.
work so well. Okay, thank you. So my question is, so as I'm doing the work, I can get pretty cerebral with it, and then I try to drop it into the heart, and I'm working that out, and that's good. What I'm looking for, so and I get at the end of the work after I do a judge your neighbor worksheet or whatever, it feels really good. Okay, I get clear, I get more free, very positive. I'm looking for a way, and if there's a way where you ground that insight or that whatever that is at the end, how I can ground that in the body. So it's not just a nice experience that I had, and it sort of leaks over into life a little bit. But I've got this sense as I was doing it yesterday, listening to Byron Katie, where I could ground it through my body, really ground it so that as I'm walking around, I'm in that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, yeah. It's basically wanting to integrate that experience, like to have it, I sometimes say, make it a part of my muscles, right? When it's not just a fleeting experience, but it's become a part of me. So yeah, that is what the practice of the work slowly cultures over time. And it happens even in after an individual kind of session. Um, I don't know if I have like a really specific tip for how to do that. But what comes to mind is the way I do it, which is I'll do the work, I'll have some kind of a nice experience. It feels lighter, it feels freer. I feel a little more open in my heart, and I kind of leave that. And what I do is I just go back out into my day, and I actually kind of forget about it, and I kind of do that on purpose. I don't try to hold on to it because I don't know how to anyway. It kind of just kind of goes away as I move out anyway. So I've kind of what's worked for me over the years is to just kind of let that go. And then when I move into the world, I'm just moving kind of like I had a nice shower and I'm feeling a little cleaner and I'm feeling a little lighter and but I'm not worried if I get dirty again or get sweaty or get, into trouble again. I'm just there was enough of that that carries with me in the day. And then I know I'm going to come back and do it again, probably the next day. And so I've kind of gotten into this habit or this cycle of doing the work. And so I get that feeling and then it goes away and then I bring it back and then it goes away. And that kind of back and forth for me tends to be how that starts to integrate, and I find that it without holding on to it, I start recognizing similar situations, and I'm like, oh, that's that one. Oh, and the feeling carries into that without a lot of cerebral, um, engagement. Really, it's just like a recognition and I get tripped up on the same issues less often. So that's how it slowly integrates for me. And that's where again I say like it becomes a part of my muscles. Another analogy that I sometimes use and it works for me is like when you're learning to play a sport or you're trying to play a new move in a sport or something. First, you go in the locker room and you kind of mark it out on the chalkboard and you kind of figure out how to do it cerebrally, but then you have to go out there and do it. And the first time you try, you fail. You know? And then you try a few more times and it starts sticking. And then you start being able to do it more dynamically, even with pressure. And, it becomes literally a part of your muscles. So that's kind of how I see the process developing. But anyway, so that's my first thought. Any thoughts for you on that, or anything that I could look into more from your side on this idea?
Mm, no, that's a good answer. I mean, what I've been doing is just starting to just ground. So after I finish, then I'll just do it like a grounding chord in basic meditation, and just to ground it like in the body. So just sending down a grounding cord from the top of my head all the way down to the center of the earth. So I'm just practicing and playing with it to integrate it, because
Yeah.
in most of my meditations and different practices, it's always the integration. I can do practices very good. I've been doing them a long time, and I can do them really good and get very clear, very high, whatever, very loving, totally open heart, whatever. Then 5 minutes sort of off the cushion or off the practice, it like goes. And so I'm looking for the missing link of grounding it or integrating it. So your answer was good. I got some benefit from that.
Okay. Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an experience, right? So that experience is that's what meditation gives, some kind of experience. And um but life happens too. Life is an experience too. And we're kind of asking ourselves to do the impossible. It's not impossible, but it's the challenge of integrating like worldly activity with spiritual experience. And those two they're not mutually incompatible, but they seem like it at first. They're like opposites. And so we're bringing those together, and that takes time. That's why all spiritual practices are are an ongoing thing. They're like it's not just a weekend or a one time, or it's like over decades we practice these things, and that's how it grows for me.